form defects. A lot of you know that I like the muddiest point. And just because I did it doesn't mean that you have to do it. Okay. Muddiest point. Thursdays, feeds and feeding. Last 5 minutes of class. Give an index card. What didn't you understand today? What didn't you understand this week? Over the weekend, summarize those. Oh, 65 students in class. First week there'd be 50 different questions. By midterm, that was down to 5. Okay? So then it could be dropped. There are tons of other things that can be done. Do a Google search for CAT, or Classroom Assessment Techniques. And no, I don't mean Siamese cats, or Maine coon cats, or domestic short hairs. Okay. But if you're really interested in that, look at that. There will be some good sites, there will be some rotten sites. One of the things that we can do is Google Teaching Goals Inventory. And the University of Iowa has a kind of a self-scoring type of thing. And yes, you'll probably just confirm what you already know, that many of your learning outcomes, what you want students to take away, are higher order thinking skills. Okay. So with that knowledge, you go back to Angelo and Cross, where we're at, Tom has it now. Look up those classroom assessment techniques that work with higher order thinking skills, and look at those. Okay. Now, to this point in time, we've been talking about the cognitive domain. If you're in other areas, you might be in the affective domain. What's that? If you're trying to influence student perceptions, student attitudes, student behaviors. In certain areas, the vet tech group and the equine studies groups might be looking at psychomotor. Physical skills, that type of thing. Gang, this is getting boring because there's no interaction. Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, so I think one of the things I've learned in the last few months is I think probably a lot of us in the room are already doing assessment things in our classes. Yep. But I think for me, the hardest part, or the part that is most difficult, or I don't know a lot about, is how do we write up our assessment reports when we turn it into whomever will accumulate those, so we turn in our departmental assessment report. How do we make that job easy for whomever that may be, and what should we all include in our assessment report?
Thank you.
Because I will say, when I helped put that together last year, the vet tech group and the equine studies group was wonderful, and it was like cut paste. And the animal science folks, sorry, we didn't do a very good job of it. And so it's really difficult to put that together, because it's like you almost have to figure out what you did in that class. So I think, to me, that would be the most beneficial thing to get out of today, is what do you want to see written up in that report, and how do we put what we do in the classroom, how do we communicate that to whomever judges our assessment report?
I only caught half of that, but I want to follow up on that because I was writing some of these things down. Is there a format that we should follow that goes into this final report? And again, I apologize because I ran out, but
it's okay.
It would be nice to know what you submit for this Title IV thing, so we know what.
We don't submit anything for Title IV. What happens in the Higher Learning Commission is changing the rules. Department of Ed doesn't like the idea we're only visited once every 10 years. Okay, so what's gonna happen?
With 10 years of data, 10 years of reports.
Well, that's been the past. What will happen now is that there will be electronic files that won't include this type of thing submitted annually through year 4 of a cycle, 10-year cycle. Okay, and then the institution has to identify some things. Then that's reviewed as a desk review by a set of reviewers. They say yay, nay, or sideways. If it's nay, then we have to have a forced visit, and we don't want one of those. Okay, if it's good, then we go for another 10 years submitting electronic data, and we're gonna have to develop an electronic site where somebody at Kalamazoo Tech or wherever an accreditor might be from, that was just the first thing I could think of, can look at our assessment reports and say you need a boo.
So what's their audit? What are they auditing us against? What do they look at? This,
Everything.
oh, okay, Department of Animal Science has 8s or 5s.
Well, they're gonna look at the institution as a whole. We're digressing for a moment, so I appreciate your interest in learning that particular detail.
Well, you know why I wanna get at this, because I wanna know if what I turn in is relevant.
Okay,
And I don't want it to be 20 pages long, I want it to be
Oh, God, no.
1 to 3 pages long. And I wanna have some kind of consistent format that everybody in the room uses.
and that's what
and
we're
we
trying
hand
to
it
get,
into you.
that's what we're trying to get to. Okay.
Because Bob, in this, I'm sorry I'm so impatient, but there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And for the sake of time, we've been to these teaching workshops on assessment. So I just wanna know how I can prove that I did them to you, to this
Okay,
ether out there.
let's do some reverse engineering then. Okay. Let's start with what you might do. And you don't really need more than 6 to 8 good paragraphs. We get reports out of engineering, I don't kid you, they're 1 inch and a quarter, 1.5 inches thick. Okay, doesn't need to be that. Animal science has 4 programs, okay? Undergrad, grad, vet tech, and equine studies. Okay, the whole shebang doesn't need to be more than 24 to 32 pages. Okay. Each course identified in the plan, the assessment plan, and that's a 3-year cycle. Each course as you come up, then tells us, what did you do? What did you learn? Sorry about my handwriting. What will you do differently as a result of what you learned? And then really there's a 4th piece. How do you know what you say you know? I just finished reviewing an assessment report for a unit in the College of Agriculture. And most of what they did was emphasize this first piece. They told us what they did. They talked a little bit about what they had learned, but they didn't say how they knew that.